Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
How much signal I need to cut across 8 lane? None? I turn now. Good luck, everybody else!
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom.
Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
The Lady in Black, the track too tough to tame. Those are two of the names that drivers and fans have given Darlington Raceway over the years. The oldest speedway on the NASCAR circuit, Darlington Raceway's egg-shaped configuration has been perplexing race drivers and mechanics since it opened in 1950 with the inaugural running of the Southern 500. The track was built on an old farm in the middle of rural South Carolina, and its unique shape is the legacy of a minnow pond that the farmer who owned the land wasn't willing to give up. Minnows still swim in that pond 7 decades later, and while lap speeds have risen to nearly 180 miles an hour, a car set up just right for one end of the 1.36-mile oval still won't handle on the other. The fastest lap times are achieved with a compromise. The car isn't perfect at either end of the speedway, but a talented driver can coax the car quickly enough through both sets of corners. When it comes to true Darlington legends, however, 2 drivers stand apart from the rest. Dale Earnhardt won here 9 times. "You never forget your first love," Earnhardt was quoted as saying. Whether it's a high school sweetheart, a faithful old hunting dog, or a fickle racetrack in South Carolina with a contrary disposition. And if you happen to be a race car driver, there's no victory so sweet, so memorable as whipping Darlington. Most of the successful driver of all time at what is perhaps the most difficult track on the NASCAR circuit is David Pearson, the 60s and 70s ace known as the Silver Fox for his smooth style behind the wheel. 10 times at Darlington, Pearson outfoxed the other drivers and the track itself. If he'd won any more, they'd have to turn over the deed to him. It's race number 8, the Beadles Custom Car Carriers Truck Series, and it's next on Track Limits Network. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Darlington Raceway. I'm Steve Singer with Track Limits Network. Let's get into the race details for tonight. The virtual Darlington Raceway, 120 laps the race distance here tonight. 77-degree ambient temperature, 46% humidity, overcast skies, a 4-mile-per-hour breeze, and a 97-degree track temp. Drivers working on a 70% fuel load tonight. 3 sets of tires available over the wall. 1 additional set counted on the truck, so 4 total for this evening's 120 laps. Qualifying will be 10 minutes or 2 laps, whatever expires first. No fast repairs and 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish if we need it. Good evening again, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Darlington Raceway here, race number 8 of the Numb Thumbs Racing League Beadles Custom Car Carriers Truck Series. Practice just about wrapped up here at the Speedway. Less than a minute to go. Brian McCann is the fast time for now. Then it's Caleb Sisk, Chris Goins, Drew Blaze, Vincent Short to round out that top 5. Clock at zeros. Black and red flags on the session. And Mike Fahey in the chat along with Jonathan Marsh. Thanks for checking in, guys. Mike says he'll be dead in the first 10 laps. So if you're here to watch Fahey wreck, tune in. Don't go anywhere. Race hasn't started yet, but according to him, it won't be long. Qualifying clock has started. Looks like Carson Rowland may be the first to roll here. We'll see if the 90 heads on out. He does. Rowland in turns 3 and 4. Start his first of 2 laps. Lap 1 in the books for the 90 Toyota. Crosses the stripe, 29.935. Then it's Milner, then it's Endicott. Vincent Short on the clock. First of 2 laps, Roland maintains the top position. Crystal Villano goes 5th quick, 31.71. Nick Biddy up to 4th. And Vincent Short crosses the line. First lap invalidated, lap 2, 29.809. Good enough for the outside pole for the time being. Mike Fahey in the U.S. Air Force colors. Now Mike Fahey on the clock here at Darlington. Little wiggle out of turn number 2 as he goes down the Boeing super stretch, or back stretch, I guess you could call it. It's not a super stretch. Into 3 and 4, finishing up his first time lap. Fahey off turn number 4, across the start-finish line. We'll see where he ends up. 7th quick, 30.330 for Fahey. 1 more lap to go. We'll see if he sticks in the throttle here. Switch over to Chris Goins in the number 4 Hot Tamales truck, making it second race appearance for that paint scheme. Oh, Goinsy up the racetrack a little bit. Scrapes the right side in the fence. I don't know if that's going to be too much for this lap to count. We're going to find out. And looks like no. First lap invalidated. We'll see if Chris can lock one in here. He's going to have to be a little bit more careful, so I would not bank on a super fast time, though he was pretty quick in practice. Roland still fastest. His second lap improved and at 29.78. Vincent Short did the same, 29.80 outside pole. Meanwhile, Tommy Welch cracks the top 10. Top 5, that is, as Goins crosses the stripe. 30.118, 7th fast. Double O Joe Bennett, 31.57 his first lap. A little wiggle off, too. I don't know if he got the wall or not. Lap 2, a bit quicker for Bennett. Puts him 9th, 30.273. Paul Ferdiani out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 31.013 his first lap. Gotta love those mirror image laps. It's the same forward as it is backwards. Kind of like a race car. If you know, you know. Qualifying almost wrapped up here. Still 5 minutes left, but Roland still on the top of the leaderboard here. About 200ths quicker than Vincent Short. Ferdiani goes lap 2, 30.742. Still some fast drivers to make some time here. Of course, Brian McCann, Caleb Sisk, Connor Leach all needing to get their times in before this one's over. So that pole position still not locked in just yet. Brandon Coleman in the 11. Pretty consistent laps here for Coleman. Puts him 19th quick. Mark Truxell in the 5. 30.256. 10th fast first lap. We'll see if he can drop her down below 30 seconds here. Would put him into the top 5 if he can. Truxell's lap complete here. 6 quick, almost got it. 30.084. Truxell, A good second lap. Currently, as it stands, Carson Rowland fastest on the speedway in qualifying. Still plenty of time left, and a good number of drivers that have not taken the time in qualifying yet. Looks like Skylar Herod will head out onto the speedway. We'll see what the 3 has in store for these guys. Still some heavy hitters to go, though. Of course, Brian McCann, Caleb Sisk, Connor Leach. Sean Roberts is out there still to go. Jarrett Woodard. Mark Collins, Eddie Rose, Joe David, Tom Barish, and the like. Hopefully Barish is here to race tonight. Rick LePage. Oh, real loose off of 2. He's got a big check up there. It's going to cost him considerably here on this lap. Herod out of 4 here. First lap is going to be a waste here. We'll see if he stays in the gas. I mentioned I would assume that he's going to. 30.703. Really not too shabby given the moment he had out of turn 2. A little better this time down the backstretch. Skylar Herod across the stripe was 18th on the first lap, 5th quick on his second. Good pickup for the 3. Now Brian McCann, 6th fast on his first lap, 29.828. Caleb Sisk is also on the track under green. This is going to be the battle for the pole here. We'll see if Rowland had enough time in his early lap. Oh, McCann real loose through the middle of the corner. $29.688. McCann goes to the point by a full 10th of a second. Caleb Sisk now goes 4th quick on his first lap with an 8.78. So fast time for now. It's Brian McCann, 29.68 seconds. Caleb Sisk on the clock with an 8.78. His first lap, good enough for 4th quick. We'll see if he picks it up as well. Sisk across the line. Oh, not quite enough. Second fast, 29.758 seconds for Caleb Sisk. Puts it outside front row with just about 25 seconds left in the session. Some new detail added by iRacing to the Speedway here recently. Track looking really good here tonight. Qualifying clock is over. That's going to do it for the session. A valiant lap for Carson Rowland to put him 3rd, but Brian McCann and Caleb Sisk will be your front row starters. Let's take a look at our starting grid. On the pole position, of course, with a lap time of 29.688 seconds, it's Brian McCann. Outside pole, the number 6 of Caleb Sisk, missed it by 70 thousandths. Row number 2 is Carson Rowland and Vincent Short. Row 3 belongs to Drew Blaze and Larry Dickerson. Row 4, it's Skylar Herod and Sean Roberts. Row 5, Tommy Welch and Mark Truxell. Starting in the 11th position, it'll be the 32 of Nick Biddy, with Chris Goins in the 4 Track Bar Motorsports machine. He'll start 12th. 13th starter, it's the 20 of Justin Lawson, flanked by the 2 of Ryan Pasoko. Double O Joe will start 15th. Mike Fahey from Lone Star Racing rolls off 16th. Mike Corvu in the number 97 will start 17th. 18th starter, it's Paul Durkee. 19th position will be Albert Anderson. 20th, Scott Milner. 21st, Jesse Redding. Paul Ferdiani will start 22nd. 23rd, it's Brandon Coleman. 24th, Crystal Milano. 25th, Russ Endicott. Ben McKinnon in the 12 will start 26. Connor Leach, the 71 out of Sisk Speed Shop, will start 27. Jarrett Woodard, 28th. Jason Steptoe, 29th. 30th is Mark Collins. 31st starter, it's Joe David. 32nd, Rick LePage. 33rd, Tom Barish. And last but not least, it'll be the 88 of Eddie Rose, shotgun on the field in 34th. It's your starting grid here from Darlington Raceway as we get gridded up here. Still a little bit of time left before this field rolls down into turn 1 for 1 of 1 pace lap. Still waiting on Eddie Rose to get gridded up here. Eddie Rose to the grid. Field begins to roll. Lawson's parked there the inside, maybe going to the back. Again, looking at the race details tonight, 120 laps the distance, 78-degree air temperature, 44% humidity, overcast skies, 6-mile-per-hour breeze. Track temp has come up considerably at 109 degrees Fahrenheit. Drivers with a 70% fuel load tonight, 3 sets of tires over the wall, no fast repairs, 0 zip zillage, and 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish tonight if necessary. We got Lori Vaught in the chat. Hey, Steve, hoping for a great race, NTRL. Lori, thanks for saying hey. And it looks like we're going to go another lap here at Darlington. Typically 1 lap on these bigger racetracks, but we're going to go an extra here to make sure we've got everybody lined up where we need to be. So front row, it's the 7 and the 6. Brian McCann and Caleb Sisk. Field out of turn number 2 here. Half a lap away from the green flag. Pace car is in. And there we go, green flag in the air. We're racing from Darlington. McCann with the jump down, out into turn number 1. Sisk there to the outside. He thought about tucking in behind, but keeps it up to the outside, and we've got trouble already. Reminiscent of Martinsville last week, and we're already wrecking in 1 and 2. Not sure what happened there, but multiple drivers involved in this one, and look at that, Mike Fahey is one of them. Well, let's get a look. It's already happening. Multiple drivers getting into this after the fact. Definitely something started here with Truxell and Gones. Truxell, I don't know if he missed his turn into turn number 1, and Gones either got to the inside or Truxell lost momentum. Either way, they came together. Just ahead there, the 5 and the 4. So Truxell, Gones, Fahey, Redding. Paul Durkee got a piece of that as well, it looks. So very quickly, just like that, opening lap again here, we've got a caution into turns 1 and 2, and through that exchange, it looks like McCann lost that race lead. Caleb Sisk, a nose out in front when the caution came out. Trying to look through, see if we got some throwback schemes. I've seen a couple so far. We'll try and follow up on that as the race goes on. But base truck is in. We're ready to go racing again. It'll be lap 5 as we cross start finish. Barney with the green in hand, and there it waves. We're back racing from Darlington. All right, first lap in anger in the books here. Caleb Sisk, still your race leader. Brian McCann running second right there. Truck length off the back bumper, about truck length and a half maybe to this point. McCann a little loose out of turn number 2, as now they're back in 3 and 4. McCann just going to ride in the tire tracks of Sisk here, see if Sisk wants to control the pace of this thing for a little while, make his adjustments accordingly. Oh, Sean Roberts and maybe another getting in the wall. I think that might have been Skylar Herod. Off turn number 2, both drivers appear to just slap the right side of their truck into the safer barrier. They both continue on and continue to battle. This is the battle now for the 7th and 8th positions. Tom Barish in trouble on the racetrack. Looks like Tom has gone straight to pit lane. Paul Ferdiani rejoining the race as well. Let's go back and look, see what happened here to the 55 just a moment ago. Barish pancaked the wall on exit, then a little bit of contact and a major bit of impact in the inside wall off turn number 2. Trying to get a better look at that. I believe it might have been the 07 of Crystal Villano got into the 55 after Tom got in the fence. Hard to say on that angle. Maybe it was 23. Still trying to get a better shot at this. Indeed it was. It was the 07 there, but again, can't really blame her there. Contact with the outside wall by Tom Barish there really broke that momentum. But look, things have changed here up front. Something significant has changed. Drew Blaze is the race leader now. Brian McCann still runs second. And Caleb Sisk back into the 11th position. Says Caleb entered pit lane, but he's... we got to look at it. We'll try and take a look, see what happened here just a moment ago. I don't know if there's a penalty involved here. Or did he have a different issue? Oh, there was trouble up ahead. Lapper, Jesse Redding, having trouble up the racetrack, got into the fence, and the leaders get collected. Sisk pulls it down to the bottom of the racetrack here. I think he's just trying to gather up and do a damage assessment to see if he can drive this thing. Checks up considerably to not cause a greater issue, but there you have it. The 21 of Jesse Redding having a problem as the leaders were approaching. Sisk has fallen back to 11th. Might be okay. But now Drew Blaze, your race leader, started in the 5th position, now in front. So first few laps of the day led by the 30 of Drew Blaze, ahead of Brian McCann. Carson Rowland still 3rd. Vincent Short still 4th. Larry Dickerson up a spot in the 5th position. Now there's one of those throwbacks. This is a throwback paint scheme of Larry Dickerson. It's a throwback to himself. It's not a terribly old paint scheme, but it's still a throwback, so we'll give it to him. Sean Roberts now to the inside of Dickerson. This would be for the 5th position if Sean can get it done, but he'll tuck back in behind. And caution on the speedway. Joe David in trouble. Trying to find Joe. Second caution of the night. We'll see what happened. From here, it appears Joe just got a little loose in the middle of the corner, slips up the track. Lawson doesn't really give him any help here. Keeps his foot down and then gets into the back of the 34, finishes the job. I think Joe may have saved it otherwise. And pit lane is open. Not everybody, but a lot. Drew Blaze, Sean Roberts, Skylar Herod, Mike Corvu, Joe Bennett, Coleman, Sisk, Collins. Sisk is going to come down here, I would imagine, trying to get some damage corrected on that number 6 machine. So Sisk still sits in his pit box here. Time going by. Yeah, he's just going to try and get that truck as straight as possible while staying on the lead lap. So with that, we're going to step aside briefly. We'll be back with a restart after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Darlington Raceway, as you see the pace truck head to pit lane. Restart number 2, it'll be lap 19. Front row, McCann and Carson rolling, and then it'll be Short and Dickerson, Anderson, Milner, Endicott, Welch, and Pasoko, and then Leach. Green back in the air. Some tires spinning in the back, gotta be careful. One truck pounds the outside wall on a turn number 2. Back to start finish. Brian McCann leads it over Rowland, Short, Dickerson, and Anderson. Quite a margin back to the second spot, 0.6 of a second to be specific. And about the same plus back to Vincent Short in the third position. And Short's got Larry Dickerson breathing down his neck. Short able to put some distance between himself and that number 69 truck of Larry Dickerson. Really, the top 5 trucks all pretty well separated now. McCann still out in front, 3/4 of a second back to Rowland. Rowland in the second spot, again about the same distance back to Vincent Short, and then roughly the same from Short to Dickerson. Bigger gap from Dickerson back to Connor Leach, but Leach making some serious strides forward. Started 27th, now finds himself in the 5th spot. And Leach has made a pit stop. Granted, that may have been some repairs there, but nevertheless. Top 8 trucks, with the exception of Leach, have not come to pit lane yet. So that's a pretty big improvement there for the 71 this early on in the race. Sun trying to peek out from behind the clouds here in Darlington. Battling going on here with Scott Milner in the 31 and Mike Corvu just behind that number 97. And trouble again. Crystal Milano, Ben McKinnon. McKinnon facing the wrong way. A severely damaged 07 truck as well. Caution number 3 here at lap 25. Let's take a look. McKinnon just ahead of Villano, working to the outside of Double O Joe Bennett. Villano with a big-time exit, but McKinnon has to check up hard, was going to get in the wall, did so. Crystal really nowhere to go but into the back of the 12. Not much he really could have done there. Closing rate being what it is, as close as they were, it looked like a few trucks there, but when you're slowed up that considerably, it's really hard to avoid. So pit stop's underway. Brian McCann looks like he's going to come down. Many others as well. McCann, though, with the benefit of that number 1 pit stall, super advantage here at Darlington Speedway. Darlington Raceway, that is. McCann took his time getting out of there. So safety lights on the pace truck are out, which means we are on the 1 to go. Next time by, be lap 29. We'll be under the green flag. So, front row, it's going to be Connor Leach and Drew Blaze. Leach in the 71 to the inside, Blaze the 30 truck to his right elbow. Row 2 will be Corvu and Herod. And Brandon Coleman in 5th. Pace truck is in.
Green, green, green.
There it is, green flag back in the air. Field off turn number 4. Leach with the lead here. Blazes swap lanes now, looks to the inside, gets to the line first. He'll lead that lap over Connor Leach. Leach now topside. Teammate Skylar Herod in back. And no, Leach has to check up big time here to avoid getting into the wall. Loses some ground, but keeps the right side clean. Now down the back straightaway. Blaze, Leach, Herod, the top 3. A little more battle behind here. Brian McCann to the inside on Mark Collins. Collins up the racetrack, scrapes the right side. Now the 24 of Rick LePage is up the racetrack as McCann takes advantage there. Move Brian McCann into the top 6 after his pit stop. And we've got Gabriella Benura in the chat. Let's go 3, but the caution is out again. Scott Milner in trouble. Milner facing the wrong way, trying to get righted. So 4th caution of the night, 31 laps in. Let's take a look what happened here to the 31 just a moment ago. It's to the outside of Albert Anderson. Don't know if Milner was just trying to avoid making side-by-side contact with Anderson and he slipped up the track, but as he came down, Carson Rowland and Milner making contact. So 33 laps in here, working caution number 4. Drew Blaze is the leader. We're going to get a chance here to watch Blaze and Leach battle it out for another restart here. Skylar Harrod will be 3rd, Corvu 4th, and now Brandon Coleman up to 5th. That 3rd row, though, Brian McCann's in there. McCann, of course, the pole sitter here today. And we've got Tom Janikowski in the chat with his trademarked wave high and checkered flag. Field doubled up, ready to go racing yet again. Pace truck in turn 4, heads to pit road. And Jarrett Woodard has crashed before we've even gone back to green.
Green flag.
Meanwhile, green flag waves. Woodard gets going. Blaze gets the jump. Side-by-side battle for the 2nd spot now. Teammates Harrod on the bottom and Leach on the top. He'll tuck in behind, take that 3rd position. And it's Corvu and now Brian McCann into the top 5. Brian McCann, the 4th spot now. If he can get clear of the 97. Dickerson's going to jump to the inside of Coleman here, looking for that spot as well. Tries it through. Coleman tried to pull the crossover, but Dickerson on rails here, driving away. Puts a couple of truck lengths between himself and the 11. Meanwhile, Brian McCann, speaking of being on rails, he gets to the inside here on Connor Leach in turn 3. McCann now looking for 3rd. He's got it. Top 3 now is Drew Blaze, Skylar Harrod, Brian McCann. Now McCann to the inside of Herod for second. McCann really likes making those passes there in turn 3. Last couple of laps, that's where he's gotten it done. Now he's got a little bit of work to do to reel in Drew Blaze. It's almost a full second up to the race leader. Jarrett Woodard's still on the bottom of the racetrack after having issues coming to green. Man, Blaze is going to have company in a hurry here. McCann is coming. It was about a full second. Now it's under half a second. On board with Brian McCann as he tries to run down leader Drew Blaze. 0.4 of a second deficit. Now 3.5 tenths as they work into turns 3 and 4. McCann now 2 tenths, less than 2 tenths. He is there, less than a truck length off the tailgate of Drew Blaze as they're out of turn number 4. Will he make the move into turn 1? Truck length and a half off. We'll see if he sticks to that turn 3 move like he's made a couple of times. Blaze up the racetrack. McCann's going to go with him. Jarrett Woodard having trouble on track again, but we stay green. Blaze gets a nose to the inside for a moment, McCann gets a nose to the inside for a moment. Blaze drives away, closes that door off again. Still about 2 tenths back to Brian McCann. Battle for the lead continues. Blaze hanging on to it for the time being. I do think that McCann is faster, but he's not going to abuse those new tires to get that lead. Again, still relatively early. We're still shy of halfway. If he gets an opportunity to take it, he's going to, but he's not going to force the issue. Blaze up the track just a touch more than McCann. McCann trying to stick his nose to the inside as they're off turn 4. And just look at the deficit they have put on the rest of the field. Blaze and McCann running away here. They're a tenth and a half apart, but they're 5.2 back to third place Larry Dickerson. These guys are just turning some seriously quick laps. But the impressive part, Drew Blaze ran only 100th slower than Brian McCann that last lap by, and his laps are about 10 laps older. Tires are 10 laps older. Did I say his laps are 10 laps older? I am losing it, guys. Still watching this battle for the race lead. Less than a truck length between the top two. McCann still applying pressure, just waiting for a mistake. issue for Blaze off turn number 2. Loose on exit, might have scraped the right rear on the wall. We're going to reel in some lap traffic here too. This is going to play a factor once they get there. If McCann can't get it done before then, it's going to give him an opportunity. Have seen in the past though, Blaze tends to be pretty good in traffic. We'll see how he does getting through these slower trucks. The racetrack goes the lap truck. I don't know if that was getting out of the way or if Blaze pushed him, but either way, first and second get through relatively clean. One more to go. It's Caleb Sisk. Remember, Sisk really put some effort in trying to get that truck repaired under that caution. I'm sure he's done more of the same, but that truck just not up to pace. Running 22nd and about to go a lap down. Blaze does get through that traffic pretty cleanly and put some distance between himself and McCann. It's about 7-8 trucks now back to the 7. Further back into the top 5. Look for Skylar Herod in the 5th position. Just behind Vincent Short. About 4 or 5 trucks back. Then Connor Leach in 6th. Chris Goins, who was involved in an earlier incident, still inside the top 10 in the 7th spot. Herod gets the wall off turn number 2. Leach has to scatter a bit. Now Leach goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Something amiss there with the 71. Leach drives it hard to the bottom. The 71 of Connor Leach driving that truck like he just spilled a beer in his lap. Got to watch that Molson export. Leach is going to head to pit lane here. He's going to bolt on tires. I don't know what that was all about. I don't know if he had a problem and just said, the heck with it, I might as well pit. This is his 2nd stop of the night. I can't imagine it was even really time for him to do it. But there are some others that are going to opt for pit lane here. Ryan Pasoko is one of them in the number 2 machine. Dick Biddy, Scott Milner. Well, Milner's been down there for a while, but still some drivers taking an opportunity to pit here. About 7 or so laps shy of halfway. So meanwhile, McCann has taken over the race lead. Don't know what happened there with Drew Blaze. We'll see if we can catch the pass just that happened recently for that top spot. Still not really able to find it anywhere, so we apologize for that. There's really no data on it happening, so not sure if there was another issue that occurred. Now Skylar Herod will come to pit lane. Chris Gone's going to do the same, so is Brandon Coleman. So we're just about halfway here at Darlington. Gones might have to back that one up. No, got it in there. Gones down and away. Brandon Coleman also in his pit stall. So McCann continues to lead now, 2.5 seconds the advantage over Drew Blaze. Paul Ferdiani in trouble off turn number 2. Looks like Ferdiani just hammered the inside wall, but drives on. I don't even show an incident there. Let's see if we can just rewind this. I hate doing that, but that's the only way we're going to see what really happened there. Man, I really don't know what happened there. Kind of looks like it might have just locked left, like he lost connection. Ferdiani's going to go to pit lane, though, try to get some repairs made. Meanwhile, McCann's still out in front, and since we checked last, it's now, well, I was going to say it was 3-4 seconds plus, but now Drew Blaze is going to come down and pit. Now here is the question. Again, McCann made a pit stop later than these guys. He came down at about lap 26 versus the lap 16 for just about everybody else. It's going to put Brian on a little bit off cycle here. I'm curious how long he will stay out because the newer tires are going to be that much faster. Now, if Brian commits to it, which he's not, he's going to come down right now and pit, so he'll be back on roughly the same cycle as everybody else. Reason he was doing that, you don't want to be out there too much longer when everybody else is bolting on fresh tires because they're going to be faster. That's effectively the undercut there. Sean Roberts also in pit lane. We'll watch the leader, Brian McCann. Now Dickerson's the current leader. So 4 tires and fuel for Brian McCann down and away, 14:07. A quick stop for the 7. Shown in the 11th spot now as he leaves pit lane. So McCann finishes up his pit work. He did lose a lap. Right now there's only 9 trucks on the lead lap, with Vincent Short being your race leader, just ahead of Brian McCann there. Brian should be able to get that lap back in short order. So green flag stop still finishing up here at Darlington Raceway. Tommy Welch, Paul Durkee, Mark Collins, Caleb Sisk, Mike Fahey finishing up their pit work. Should cycle just about everybody back around within reason. I think the top 20 at least. We got the Vigilante Racing Network in the chat. Says Anderson charged up to 6th. We'll see how the strategy plays out for him. Need a solid green flag pit stop to keep up the advance. So Short still leads here. We've only got 6 trucks still on the lead lap right now. And pit stop still underway. We'll see. Hopefully we do not catch a caution during this cycle. That'll throw this whole thing away. So Brian McCann, though he is still far back from the race leader, he is running 3rd now, reeling in some other drivers. Carson Rowland, 3rd place starting driver tonight. Next on the list, but about 11 seconds ahead of McCann. Quite an interesting pit cycle here, trying to get everybody finished up with their pit service and then back into this race. As it stands right now, we've only got 6 trucks on the lead lap. Larry Dickerson in 7th, the first truck 1 lap down. With that, though, we're going to step aside here, get a quick break out of the way, our side-by-side break. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Save your stuff, save a little fuel.
Back at Darlington Raceway, you just saw it there in the side-by-side caution on the speedway. A few drivers involved in that one. Ryan Pasoko, Skylar Harrod. Looks like Chris Goins may have been wrapped up in it as well. Pasoko off the nose of Herod. Gonna back it up here, see if we can catch a better angle on it. So Pasoko and Yaw there off turn 4, saving the truck up the racetrack. Of course, that's going to break his momentum. Herod's going to jump to the inside, but Ryan's still trying to save the truck. It looks now he's not clear. Turns left in front of the 3. That's going to cause Skyler to check up because he's not trying to wreck him. Steptoe will sneak by on the outside, but now Goins and Herod are going to get involved here. Lawson's going to get a chunk of this as well. Actually, Lawson might have got through that without contact. Well, there you have it. Caution coming out here, I think, right at the end of that pit cycle. So lap 76, Brian McCann is the leader. Then it's Drew Blaze, Larry Dickerson, Paul Durkee, and Tommy Welch. That's your top 5. Albert Anderson up into the 7th spot. Now drivers within the top 7 here. Looks like Vincent Short, driver with the newest tires, as he made his pit stop a little bit later, lap 69. Everybody in front of and around him was between lap 61 and 64. But further on down the line, Chris Goins, now shown in 7th place. He made a pit stop during this caution. Obviously, he was involved in it. See where he gets shuffled back into this mix. Pace truck is in, lap 78 when we get the green. Still trying to get shuffled back up here. Looks like Ryan Pasoko trying to find his place in line. He does so. On to turn 4, green flag back in the air. Into turn 3, McCann with the lead. Then it's Drew Blaze, Dickerson, Tommy Welch, and Paul Durkee. That's still the top 5. Battle for position further back. The 7th position up for grabs. No, 8th. Ryan Pasoko takes it from Chris Goins. Further ahead there, Connor Leach jumping to the inside on Vincent Short into turn 1. And we've got trouble again. Not sure for what. There it is. Corvu and Endicott in trouble here, lap 79. Looks like Endicott got up into the fence here, gets into the side of Steptoe. Anderson lucky to get through there cleanly as Corvu was just behind him. He gets tangled up with the 57. Some more takers here on pit lane. McCann and Blaze stay out on the racetrack, but Dickerson, Tommy Welch, Pasoko, and others are going to come down and pit. Caleb Sisk into his pit stall. Still trying to salvage the afternoon the best that he can. He's still shown in the 21st position. So there you see it. Safety lights off on the iRacing pace truck. On the one to go. We'll get the restart next time by. It'll be lap 83. Brian McCann, Drew Blaze going to restart it again for us. Brian McCann looking for win number 3 on the season. Picked him up 2 in a row at Las Vegas and Homestead, Miami. Broken up by Caleb Sisk last week at Martinsville. Only 4 different winners through 7 races this season. Pace truck is in. Green flag back in the air. McCann on the gas. Blaze with a pretty decent reaction. Quick enough to stay ahead of the 13 of Paul Zerke. Connor Leach makes short work of the 13, moves the 71 up into the 3rd spot now. So it's McCann, Blaze, Leach, Durkee, Short. That's your top 5. Chris Jones running back in 6th. He won't go away. Albert Anderson in 7th. Tommy Welch, Sean Roberts, Ryan Pasoko, the top 10. And then it's Larry Dickerson and Carson Rowland rounding out your lead lap trucks. Leach trying to make it the short way around or the long way around, but a narrow space, not close enough there. Might have pancaked the wall off of 4. Still runs 3rd in the tire tracks of Drew Blaze. Now Blaze in the fence with the right rear. Oh, Tommy Welch hammers the outside wall. Keeps it going straight down the racetrack, but that truck just got a little narrower. Tommy in 11th. Back out front, the top 3 separated by not a whole lot. 2.5 tenths back to Blaze, about 4 tenths back to 3rd place. But Blaze, he's got company. It's Connor Leach all over the tailgate of the 30 in the middle of 3 and 4. There might have been a little bit of contact there getting into 3. Blaze hangs on to the 2nd spot for now. Into turns 1 and 2. Blaze way up the racetrack, throwing sparks back to Connor Leach, but Leach jumps to the inside. Blaze back in the wall off of turn 2. He'll lose the second spot. Connor Leach now forward march towards Brian McCann into turn 3. It's a deficit of 6.5 tenths. We'll see if Leach can run down the 7. Vigilante Racing Network in the chat again here, commenting on Albert Anderson back in the 7th spot. Anderson started back in the 19th position, still running in that 7th position. Traffic behind, but not a whole lot out in front of the 99, at least for the time being. But running down the race leader is Connor Leach. McCann still out in front. His pit stop coming at lap 62. Connor Leach's lap 75, so much more recent pit stop and fresher tires for Connor Leach as he tries to run down Brian McCann, who's been very stout here tonight. This is going to be the thing we're going to want to watch right now to see if those new tires are truly enough to get around a relatively equal talent driver here at the front of the field. And we know Leach has better tires, but the leader, of course, has that clean air, has that preferred track position. Will it be enough to hold off to 71? Or will Brian just let him go? There's always that possibility. Brian certainly does still have a set of tires left over the wall here with just about 30 laps remaining. We'll see if he can take advantage of it. Connor Leach right there to the back bumper. Battle for the race lead continues. Leach definitely looks faster. Last lap was faster by about half a tenth, and that's with a truck in the way. I think if Leach can get clear of McCann and take that race lead, I think he'll be able to run away here. McCann trying to hold him off the best that he can. Meanwhile, Albert Anderson has fallen back to the 11th position. And Leach goes to the outside for the lead. At the stripe, the 71's going to lead it. Big time run down the main straightaway. Connor Leach to the point. Now it's just a matter of time. Now what Brian McCann wants to see now is that caution to come out. McCann would certainly benefit from that last set of tires here, but the lap's winding down here at the Lady in Black. Further back through, Drew Blaze in third, but Vincent Short right there, a truck length off the back bumper, trying to get himself into a top 3 position before this one's over. Leach trying to break the draft here, unless he had a problem. It's the only other thing I could imagine was going on there. The 71 dropped way down low on the back straightaway. Now Short out of turn 4. Thought he had enough of a run, but takes a look to the inside. Still not quite enough. Yeah, Vigilante Racing Network again says if this goes green, this may be Leach's race to lose. McCann's got the talent to step up there with Connor Leach, but I don't think he's got the rubber underneath him. .25 laps to go here from Darlington. Connor Leach leads 0.4 of a second back to Brian McCann. We watch the battle for third between Drew Blaze and Vincent Short. just about 2 feet off the tailgate of Blaze now. Drew drives it in deep, washes up the racetrack right against the wall. A little bit of sparks coming off the 30 truck. Short's got to find a way. Short with about 8 lap newer tires versus Drew Blaze. Gets to the inside now, this for the 3rd spot. Blaze will tuck in, so move Vincent Short into the top 3. Blaze gets into the fence again, pancakes the right side of the safer barrier. Just kind of bounces him back into the groove, though. Doesn't lose a ton of ground. 23 to go. It looks like Joe David has had an issue. Oh, no, here comes Drew Blaze onto pit lane. This likely a planned stop. Blaze only made 2 stops here this afternoon, so this is his opportunity to bolt some fresh tires on. We'll see if he can drag anybody else down to do the same. So back out front, Leach still leads. McCann doing a pretty good job, at least trying to stay with that 71. It's got the deficit under a second still. Leach in a little bit of traffic here. Steptoe in the number 50 truck. Oh, a little bit of contact with the wall for Steptoe. Might have been some contact with Connor Leach as well, but Connor finally gets through. Sun peeking out here at Darlington. Just as quickly back behind the clouds. So Brian McCann now trying to work his way through some more lap traffic. That's still Jason Steptoe in the 50. Albert Anderson back to the 10th position. Drew Blaze just in behind. He is a lap down now, but he has completed his pit work and put some tires on. You see how much of a difference there is with fresh tires to old as Blaze just rockets by the 99. Ten trucks on the lead lap. That is all. This is the last truck on the lead lap, Albert Anderson. It's about a half lap back from the leaders here with 18 laps remaining. Now Vincent Short to the inside of Steptoe. Looks like Larry Dickerson might be gaining some ground back on the 15. Now Larry's got to get through the 50 as well. Steptoe not on the lead lap. Dickerson really trying to find a way around here. Jarrett Woodard at the bottom of the racetrack. Steptoe battling back to the inside. And Steptoe back in 21st. Multiple laps down. Chris Goins a bit of a wiggle in the middle of the corner. So 14 laps to go. Leach still out in front, relatively uncontested. That is a lap truck in behind him, so don't be too concerned there. It's Carson Rowland, believe it or not. Rowland, though, making a pit stop at lap 100. And speaking of pit stops, here comes Brian McCann. Thought all hope was lost. Very well could be the case. Caution is yet to come out for any type of incident here. That really is what Brian McCann was hoping for, but he's going to come down and bolt that last set of tires on. That's going to move Dickerson now up into the second spot as he got around Vincent Short. Go back and watch the replay here just a moment ago. Dickerson on Short. Vince up the racetrack, scrapes the wall, slows his momentum in the middle of 3 and 4. Opens the door for Larry Dickerson to take that second spot. So current top 3 now, it's Connor Leach, Larry Dickerson, and Chris Goins, as Goins has gotten around the 15 as well. Take a look at that pass just a moment ago. Yeah, same thing. Vince just got up in the fence again. Tires starting to go away on the 15, it looks like. Short trying to battle back. Oh, trouble! Step toe in the wall off of turn 2.
Getting ready to have a caution.
And the caution is out. Too little, too late for Brian McCann, it seems. Now, Steptoe, remember, was, I think, back in about the 21st, 22nd spot. I think he was 2 laps down at the time of this, maybe 3. Let's see what happened here to the 50 just a moment ago. We saw him get loose out of 2. Did he have help? Mark Collins gets into the fence, slows the momentum. Steptoe gets into him, and then the rest is history. Makes a pretty big impact there at the inside wall. So pits are open, and here come the leaders. Leach, Dickerson, Goins, Roberts, Short, Pasoko. They're all going to come down. Tommy Welch. We'll see Drew Blaze. Will he come down? I don't think he will. Blaze might stay out here. His pit stop was lap 98. So 4 tires and fuel for Connor Leach. .15.03 the stop. And Vincent Short into his pit stall. Has to back it up. He'll lose a little bit of time there. So Leach will finish his pit work and come back out as the race leader. Goins will be second. Sean Roberts third. Or is it Drew Blaze? We'll get that squared away here momentarily. So interestingly enough, it looks like, well, it might be too soon to tell. Showing McCann back a minute 18. Now Brian's still running in that 9th spot. Yeah, he's not on the lead lap. He needs to wave around here in a minute. So Mike Fahey, Brian McCann, and looks like Double O Joe. Some others that get waved around the pace truck here. So front row, when we go back to green, it'll be Leach and Goins. Now, Connor Leach has also got 2 wins on the season. His coming on the road course at Circuit of the Americas West, and then Phoenix Raceway the following week. Couple of wins out on the West Coast, or at least the West Coast swing per se. Trying to pick one up here in the South.
Not going.
Drew Blaze stopped on the backstretch trying to get people around him. doesn't want to get black flag for being in the wrong position. They have waved off the restart here. It would have been with 7 to go. Now it'll be with 6. Again, there were a bunch of wave-around trucks. They're trying to get everybody where they need to be, which, again, I appreciate seeing that. Good to get everybody in the proper position, especially if this could be the final restart of the day. But then again, cautions breed cautions. We haven't had one in a while. Got the field all doubled back up, so we'll see. Albert Anderson now in 12th. He's the first truck 1 lap down. Pace truck is in. Barney with the green in hand.
Green flag, green
there
flag,
it is, green flag back in the air. 6 laps to go from Darlington. Leach gets the jump over Gones. Gones, good restart as well. Able to get out in front of Sean Roberts in 3rd. Pasoko is 4th. 5th is Vincent Short. Battle on for the 3rd position. Pasoko putting the attack on Sean Roberts. 5 laps remain here from Darlington. Leach trying to make it his 3rd win of the season. Leach and Gones checking out, and Vincent Short gets into the 2, sends the 2 into Sean Roberts, and we got a caution again, or do we? Yep. Oh, how did we not get a yellow out of that? No caution. He was sitting broadside in front of traffic. iRacing missed that one. Sean Roberts, though, in trouble. Way back now, 11 positions lost, or close to it, in the 11th position. We stay green. Leach leads now almost a full second above Chris Gones, back in the 2nd spot. Pasoko up in the 3rd position. 3 laps to go, coming to 2 to go the next time, and Gones hits the wall off of turn number 2. Chris driving everything he's got, trying to catch the race leader, Connor Leach. 2 laps remain. Brian McCann back in the 5th position. It'll be a solid points day salvaged for the 7. So Connor Leach out of turn number 4, looking for the white flag here. Final lap from Darlington. There it is. Leach uncontested now. Gones back 0.8 of a second. Leach just needs to stay clean here for another couple of corners. He's in 3, middle of 3 and 4. And for the final time from the 27th starting position, back to start finish, he'll take the checkered flag and pick up his 3rd win of the season. Connor Leach wins it. Chris Gones will finish 2nd. Ryan Pasoko comes home 3rd. Very happy man behind the wheel, that number 71, Connor Leach, victorious here at Darlington. We're going to step aside briefly, get our break out of the way. We'll be back with Connor Leach, Chris Goins, and Ryan Pasoko after this. Stay with us.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
How much signal I need to cut across 8 lane? None? I turn now. Good luck, everybody
Back at Darlington Raceway, Connor Leach victorious for the third time this season. Let's get a word with our race winner, the driver, the number 71 Sisk Speed Shop entry, Connor Leach. It's Steve with Track Limits. You got me?
I got you, Steve.
Connor, congratulations, man. Job well done. Started deep in the field here tonight, back in 27th. I didn't catch what happened in qualifying. Was there a problem, or did you just opt to not take it?
Well, there was computer issues. That entire race, you wouldn't believe it, but I was running at about 28 frames per second. Just solid 28 FPS the whole race, and that's why I didn't even have a chance to qualify because I was trying to fix things, but just said, screw it, I'm going to race anyways. I'll stick at the back and see what we can do, and holy smokes, I come up with a win. I wouldn't believe it.
Disney flipbook style. Nice job.
Yeah, it was an eventful one. There was lots of cautions that kind of just fell my way in the end there, and I had enough fuel at the end to go to the end before that last caution came out, but I had a set of tires, so I was like, I'll run it as best I could. I was saving a lot of fuel. Once I got past McCann, I was just saving fuel as much as I could, and then caution did come out, and I guess he had to pit before, so put him a lap down. He had to take the wave around, and yeah, and then just drove away at the end there and never looked back.
Certainly a job well done. You had the pace. I think, I got to go back and double check here, but that fast lap of the race for you came in that final stint, maybe a lap or two after we went back after those pit stops. What is the trick really to get around this place? I know you want to be high up on the racetrack, but you got to try and keep that thing out of the wall at the same time, right?
Yeah, it's just being disciplined. Like, you know, there's a lot of the wrecks I saw were mostly just guys that, you know, you kind of fly in there, and usually if you're just single file, you can just kind of fly in there and hope it sticks and you might get away with it, but when you're too wide and you guys are flying in there hoping it sticks. It's pretty risky, but yeah, this track is just, I think they were saying at the broadcast in the real race over the weekend, just race the racetrack and kind of go as fast as you can without hitting the wall. And I clipped it a couple times, but nothing too major.
Well, truck still looks good here at the end of this thing. Congratulations on the race win. Another tough track coming up next year, Bristol Motor Speedway. I know we just left a short track in Martinsville. It was a little chaotic, but what's the mindset rolling into that crazy Coliseum in Bristol next week?
Heck, just keep the momentum rolling, I guess. We'll go in there, see if we can have a good team result. And this race didn't go quite our way for the S3 Sisk Speed Shop team, but I know we'll come back pretty strong at Bristol.
All right, Connor. Well, thanks for talking to us, man. Is there anyone you want to thank before I let you go?
Yeah, just all the guys on the team for coming out, and Derek for putting on the league, and he's been real busy in real life, so I don't blame him for missing a couple things here and there, but he's doing a good job. And it is tough with especially after last race, there's a lot of cautions in that one, so it's a tough job. And then you for putting on the broadcast.
All right, Connor. Well, thanks for talking to us again. Congratulations on the race win here at Darlington. Good luck at Bristol next week.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Connor Leach, your race winner here at Darlington Raceway. Next, we're going to talk to our runner-up, Chris Goins. So trying to get Ryan Pasoko up here into the broadcast booth. We tried to send an invite, but some parent changes to Discord makes it a little bit more difficult to share those links. So if anybody can help me out and get him in here, that would be appreciated. If not the end of the world. But in the meantime, we'll talk to our runner-up, Chris Goins. Chris, driver of the number 4, Hot Tamale Ford. Chris, it's Steve in the booth. You got me?
Hey, yes, Steve. What's going on, buddy?
Chris, congratulations, man. 12th place starting position. Not too shabby, but worked your way through. You were a challenger, really thick and thin through this whole race, but finished it off in the second spot, even with a late race restart. Why don't you walk us through it, man? What was the strategy and the mindset there on that final pit stop?
Well, around the 40 lap mark or so, I ended up staying out because I had to pit for some repairs from that very first caution, and topped off the tank each time and stayed out and rode my tires a little bit longer. So I was I've apparently a lot more had tires than I thought there at the end, but starting on the outside here can be tricky. It's usually not too bad if first place gets a jump, but I knew that couldn't let Connor get a jump because then third place would be right there with him. So I tried to time it, and I timed it relatively well, stayed beside him getting into 1 and 2, and really just kind of fought off third and fourth there for a while. I tried my best to run Connor down, gained a couple tenths there at the end, but I just didn't have anything for him there.
Well, the truck's a little beaten and battered, but obviously still fast at the end of this thing, so job well done. Looking forward now to another half-mile short track, this time the high banks at Bristol Motor Speedway. I know we had some crazy incidents Martinsville last week. This one was a little better this evening. What do you think do we have in store next week out of Bristol?
It's hard to tell. Hopefully I have the same luck I had in Martinsville. Ended up with a top 3 there, so hopefully I can avoid some of the chaos. I go in with my expectations low, so I'm not disappointed at the end of the night, but we'll see. Put this many cars on that high banked half mile is you're gonna have some beat up trucks and some hurt feelings at the end of it. So just hopefully we can keep mine straight enough and not make anybody mad to end the race.
Well, either way, we're looking forward to it. Chris, congratulations again, man. Who do you want to thank before I let you go?
Yeah, I want to shout out the teammates over at Track Bar Motorsports. It was a tough night for a lot of us, but overall, it's fun to run with these guys and girl every week. So I want to thank you guys over here at Track Limits for putting on the broadcast. It's fun to go and watch it and have other people watching it too. So admins over NTRL, they always do a good job every week. So want to shout out Ace number 3 Burgers. Anybody's going to the Coke 600 in May, there's a location for Ace right there at Concord Mills. So I'd love to see you out there and show them some business. We got the Waterman Fish Bar that's at Charlotte Douglas Airport. So if anybody's flying through Charlotte, go get some food there. So shout out to High Tide Hospitality. And I'm starting to think that the hot tamale is a good luck charm. So I guess I'll have to keep it around.
Speaking of Charlotte and the 600 here in May, I'm obviously going, Chris. Are you heading down there or no?
That's the plan for now. Heading up there for that Memorial Day weekend. That's where I'm from originally. So I'll stay with, check out see what the family's doing and try and make it to the track for the race, and hopefully stop by and spend some time and set up with you.
Well, we'll have to get a burger and a beer in Concord Mills. Looking forward to it. Chris, again, congratulations. Second place finish here in Darlington. Good luck next week in Bristol.
I appreciate it, yeah.
It's Chris Goins, your runner-up here at Darlington. I don't think we're going to get Ryan Pasocco here. Was not able to join us here in the broadcast booth, but Ryan Pasocco, man, what a job. Well done. Ryan out of Sturbridge, Mass. Drove this thing from the 14th position and then finished third. It's just a job well done. You don't luck into finishing positions at Darlington Raceway. The kid did a good job. Congratulations to Ryan finishing there in that third position. But unfortunately, I do not have him in the booth. Try and catch up with him here at another time. With that said, though, that'll wrap up the top three, the broadcast or the interview portion of the broadcast. Let's get a look at our race results. Of course, we talked to the top three: Brian McCann, Caleb Sisk. That's qualifying. Let's fix that. Terry Crouch would hate me for that one. Let's try again. Race results. There it is. Connor Leach, Chris Goins, Ryan Pasocco, the top three. Fourth was Tommy Welch, a strong run for the 9. Brian McCann battled back to 5th. Vincent Short held on for a top 10 in 6th. Drew Blaze, 7th. Larry Dickerson was 8th. Double O Joe was 9th. Carson Rowland, front row starter, finished in the 10th position. 11th was Sean Roberts. 12th, Albert Anderson. Still a strong run. First truck, 1 lap down. Paul Durkee was 13th. 14th place was Justin Lawson. Russ Endicott was 15th. Mike Corvu was 16th. Mark Collins, 17th. 18th place, Skylar Herod. Caleb Sisk, again, talk about a rough day. Problems early with a lap truck getting into the wall just in front of the leaders. Himself and Brian McCann both getting collected in that. Caleb getting the worst end of the deal. 19th, 2 laps down. Mike Fahey was 20th. 21st, Jesse Redding. Jason Steptoe was 22nd. Rick LePage, 23rd. 24th, Brandon Coleman. Joe David was 25th. Paul Ferdiani was 26th. 27th, Jarrett Woodard. Nick Biddy was 28th. Didn't see a whole lot of Nick tonight. I think he was involved in an earlier incident. Scott Milner was 29th. Ben McKinnon, 30th. 31st, Crystal Villano. Mark Truxell was 32nd. Tom Barish out of this one early with a wreck as well, 33rd. And last but not least, Eddie Rose. Looks like he did not take the green flag here tonight. He'll be credited with the last place, 34th, here at Darlington. That'll wrap it up for us here at the Speedway. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Again, congratulations to Connor Leach on his 3rd victory on the season. Join us next week at Bristol Motor Speedway. It's, look it, I know everybody's nervous. Last week was a little rough. It happens. It's not just them. It happens to other leagues too. I think they learn from it. I think they'll get things straightened out. We'll get things figured out. It'll be a solid race next week at Bristol. I'm confident. I could be wrong, but I'm confident. So at least show up. Let's watch this thing. Let's see how it goes. Either way, it's going to be entertaining, guys. So thanks for being here tonight. Congratulations again to Connor Leach. If you haven't already done so, hit that thumbs up, like, follow, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. We do appreciate it here at Track Limits, and we'll see you at the next one. Thanks for watching.